Hello and welcome to a special presentation from In the Money Media. This is our podcast / video for racing on April 19th. And this April 19th racing is highlighted by the Preakness Preview Day at Laurel Park. And as such, we bring in our man from the Maryland Jockey Club. So happy to be working once again with Dan Illman. Dan, how are things?
Things are going great, Pete. It's always nice to be working with you again. Spring, I think it's officially here in Maryland. We've got turf racing beginning on Friday. We've got our first 3 turf stakes races on Saturday, Preakness Preview Day. There are 3 of the 5 stakes on the program, along with the Frederico Tesio, a Win Today, See You in May qualifier for the Preakness, and the Weber City Miss, a Win Today, See You in May qualifier for the Black Eyed Susan. We've got a 12 race card on Saturday, 120 horses entered. You do the math. That means full fields. We've got 2 value pick 5 wagers with low takeout rates of 12%. Both of them have carryover potential. And we've got a handicapping contest at Laurel Park as well. It's a huge day.
Fantastic. I'm going to ask you a little bit more about that handicapping contest later in the show. One thing I want to highlight here right up top, in case anybody's been sleeping on it, any track in America in terms of free information, quality information being given away daily, you guys are in the photo, if not the clear winner. Folks, make sure you check out laurelpark.com/picks. That's going to lead you to these daily handicapping guides from Dan and the team. There's a little bit of in the money participation there. Our own Will Humphrey helping out, but it is a wealth of free information. And, we always clamor for free data in horse racing. You got some of that as well.
We're doing the best to ensure that our public has the most information possible to make the most intelligent wagering decisions. Not only do we have picks, we have full card analysis from many members of the team. Will is doing a sensational job, trip notes and highlighting horses throughout the day. We have hot trainer stats, bias information, lots more still to come. We're going to continue improving. We've only been doing this for 3 months, but we're very excited. And every single day, we have free daily racing form DRP past performances on the site as well. So download the guide, download the free PPs, handicap along with us.
I find it, Dan. I have a URL bookmarked, laurelpark.com/picks. Is that the best way to get the guide, or is there something better?
That's the best way to get the guide, or you can just follow me on Twitter at DRF. I was only there for 25. I was only there for 25 years, Pete. How about Dan Illman _MJC? I tweet it out every racing day. Again, we have a lot of fun. We've got a lot of great handicappers on site. So let's handicap together and hopefully find some great wagering opportunities this weekend.
Don't feel bad. For the first 2 years of the In the Money Players podcast, it was occasionally the DRF Players podcast still, to the one point where Craig Bernick was my guest and stopped me in the middle and was like, "What's wrong with you, man? Don't you even know what you're doing?" It's very funny. Let's dive in to these races. And we're going to do the pick 6 because we have these 6 stakes. So this is the Chesapeake pick 6. It kicks off in race number 7. We're going a mile on the turf for fillies and mares. It's the Dahlia Stakes. Who do you like to light this candle, my friend?
Well, listen, the horse to beat obviously is Sparkle Blue. I made the horse 6-5 on the line, dropping out of a graded stakes race in the second start of the form cycle for Graham Motion. I think she's obviously the horse to beat, but if you want to find a price play, I think it's worth noting that Cut From Class made Sparkle Blue really work last year going a longer distance. And I think the shorter distance and this little layoff is going to help Cut From Class. I expect her to be fresh. I think she's faster out of the gate than the other 2 speeds, the 5 and the 6. I think she's classier than the other 2 speeds, the 5 and the 6. She's going to be a price because of her low profile connections. I'm going to go with her. I can understand anyone that likes Sparkle Blue. I can understand anyone that likes Tufani coming up from the fairgrounds.
3 and 2, the main numbers for you, or will you sneak some 7s onto the ticket as well?
I'll probably be leaning mostly 3 and 2. I think if the 7 beats me, the great thing is I've got the value pick 5 coming up, as Harvey would always say.
And if not the pick 5, then the pick 4.
That's right.
It's a great routine for our shared mentor. I have another one to throw in there with Sparkle Blue. I was less creative than you and put Sparkle Blue on top. The case is so obvious. Class of the field. I thought last race was maybe a little bit better than it looked too. But I thought that you could make a little bit of a story about number 4, Fantastical. Finished up okay in synthetic races at this distance. Only run the once at a mile on turf. But on blood, I think she's supposed to like it and maybe even improve. I was just going to throw in one backup line with Fantastical, who I thought was maybe an interesting alternative to that likely favorite. And I'm going to take another long look at your 3-runner as well, though you do make a good case. Sometimes it's great to just be skinny early in these big picks, especially going from a pick 6 to a pick 5. That pick 5, which begins with the King Leatherberry Stakes, going the 5.5 on the Laurel turf here with $100,000 in the pot. Another very obvious one that will be on my tickets is number 10, Determined Kingdom. I don't have much clever to say here. Horse has very fast numbers, very possibly will be the best speed. That outside draw maybe gives some tactical options as well. But I did have a long shot to mention. Number 6, When I Get to Heaven, holds some appeal for me as a long shot. I think this horse can be seen to good effect, potentially stalking the strong gallop that I'm expecting is going to happen in here. And this horse does have back lines that would make him competitive. And then for another one that insanity insurance kind of play, I've always been a very big fan of number 4, Witty. And while this horse was not at his best late last year, now coming back off the layoff, Liz Merriman, extremely under the radar trainer, but I've always been a very big fan. Trade a horse for me back in the day, and I just couldn't have been more impressed with her and the work she does and her ability to get horses ready. Not going to be any great price or anything, but one I don't want to get knocked out by. I had a 10, 6, and 4, Dan. How did you see it?
Well, I think When I Get to Heaven's Determined Kingdom, the 10's the horse to beat. I made this horse a pretty strong 2-1 favorite in a big field off the 99 buyer speed figure at Keeneland. This horse was purchased for $190,000 at auction and sent over to Trombetta. I talked to Mikey. He said, the goal for this horse is Colonial because he's won, 3 consecutive editions of the restricted punchline stakes. He just seems to run very, very well there. But he seems to have wintered well, and you're right. He's going to be right in the thick of things when they turn for home. And if he runs anything close to his last race, he's going to win. My kind of wacky long shot, I think you should use one, especially considering that this horse, Determined Kingdom, might be prepping for something down the road, is the number 9, Had to Have Him. Well, I have a 20-1 for Frankie Pennington. This is a horse that when you watched him run last year was very, very green. He just would run in spots, would switch leads several times on the stretch. I think it hurt his finish. Now they've given him a break after a very long campaign. He returns as a gelding. Maybe he's just going to focus a lot better as he's gotten older. He's shown me some hints of potential. Perhaps he's a horse best played underneath if you just want a cold punch in your exacta. The old 10-9 is where I would go, but I'd use this horse a little bit as sort of a B play in the pick 6 or even in the pick 5. As for Witty, I agree with everything you say. He's one of the most popular horses on the circuit. I did talk to Lizzie Merriman. She says he enjoyed the winter. She also said he would enjoy a little bit of cut in the ground at this point in his career, so keep an eye out on the weather.
Interesting. All right. Mostly 10 and a little 9 and 4. Very compelling case on the 9, who ought to go postward as a big price. Let's get to the next race in this sequence. It is that aforementioned Weber City Mistakes, mile and a 16, field of 7 going postward. It's a pretty darn interesting field of 7. Where did you land?
It's a really interesting race, and it's a really tough race. I mean, Brittany's got 2 horses in here. She doesn't have a jockey named on either. Maybe both don't run. Maybe one runs. Maybe both run. Reply is going to take a lot of money based on the fact this is an expensive Rapoli purchase by Curlin, who just is big and strong and acts like she's going to run all day. But that being said, I'm kind of interested in the other one, Complexity Jane, if she runs here. I was very taken by her career debut and the professionalism she showed. She wasn't away the best, but Sheldon just allowed her to get into a nice, easy rhythm. She took dirt down on the inside, stayed on the rail, and really fired on home. I'm not sure she was fresh stretching out in distance last time out, but she was able to get to the lead. She took a little bit of heat. And remember, that 1-turn mile here at Laurel, it's a long, long stretch. And she just got pipped on the line. I think if she runs in here, she's actually the best speed and can slow things down. If she doesn't run in here, Moon Cash, I think, is very interesting. Now, I know she was only claimed for $40,000 2 starts back by Mikey Gorham, but this horse ran very, very well to be only to be disqualified last time out. Those were fast fractions she was chasing. She made the first run into the teeth of the pace, and the closer, Safe Trust, who benefited from the flow, almost got her. So I'm interested in Moon Cash. I'm obviously interested in Complexity Jane if she runs in this race. I guess if there's a scratch, I'd throw Safe Trust wheeling back on a week, although I am a little bit worried whether that closing sprint ability is going to work at a mile and a 16.
I have a little bit of a contrarian idea about Safe Trust, which is just that while she was so effective closing sprinting the last, one closing sprinting, one closing routing the last twice, Safe Trust, this is a filly who's shown more tactical speed than that. And I was hoping that if both Complexity Jane and Mooncash go, it could be one of these things where just looking at pace figures, you see a theoretically deeper closer kind of invited into the race in a good attacking spot. And I thought she actually might trip out if that were to happen. It's tricky. You don't know how to deal with the coming back in 7 days. And there's no doubt she comes off a monster setup. But I was thinking there's enough confusion around her that she might end up being, you put her 7-2 on the line. I think that'd be a fair price based on her best bits of work. So I'm going to have her in the mix as well. And then I think this is one where you'd love to have the final field before finalizing picks, because if either the 4 or the 7 don't go, the other one would become a confident top selection for me. And I'm going to probably make notes to just look to include both of them. But I'm going to take a little bit of a shot here with Safe Trust. Are you buying my case at all, or do you think I'm tilting at windmills?
No, I'm buying your case at all, because this horse has just shown so much maturity. It's funny that Jose Corrales was telling me that this horse was so ill-behaved and ill-mannered early in her career that he thought she's never going to make it to the races. And then she would show up and she was speed crazy. As you mentioned early, as a 2-year-old, she had a lot more speed. She has gotten a lot better mentally, as we saw when she rated and kicked on home in that race 2 starts back. And last time out, she was forced to stay close to a very fast internal fraction. And the minute Dennis Arrojo just prodded her once, she exploded on home. She's in good form, and Corrales has very good record wheeling horses back on short notice. So I won't be surprised on the stretch out if this horse does trip out in third behind the speeds and gets a jump on a horse like the Brittany Firster down, second time starter down on the rail.
I've been a flow-oriented handicapper for so long.
Nothing wrong with that.
What's that, my friend?
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and what I noticed with a horse that gets a setup like Safe Trust, when their pace figures are dropping off at the end, that's like the miracle. Okay, everything just dovetailed for Safe Trust on that day. But the fact that her lines are so consistent pace-wise, 96, 96, 97, 95 on the time form scale in that last race, maybe she's just a push-button horse now. Anyway, too much time talking about a 7-2 shot. I apologize for that, but I am interested in that one. Let's move on to race number 10, the Henry Clark. We're going a mile on the turf, and Dan will throw the ball back in your court.
Really nice horses in this race. 10-horse field, some horses that are starting to find their footing on turf, like Signator, who we've seen on dirt do some good things. Card Trick comes into this race very, very sharp. Degree of Risking comes into this race very, very sharp. But I do think Need is the horse to beat. I mean, this horse is a multiple graded stakes winner, and they really tried deep water in the Frankie Kilroe in the first start of the year, and he didn't really run very well that day. But this class relief might just be what the doctor ordered. He's a mile specialist. I talked to Rob Atras. He says this horse absolutely needs firm turf, so it's the exact opposite of Whitty. So keep an eye out on the weather. But this horse does have a strong closing kick. I have to use him. I want to use Mischievous Angel a little bit. I'm really interested in your opinion on this horse, Pete, because they've kept this horse sprinting for most of his career. He has only stretched out once. That was his second lifetime start, and maybe that was just a case of too much too soon. I thought his last race was actually okay in the Belmont Turf Sprint. He ran against Determined Kingdom, who came back and earned that big 99 Bayard speed figure. I trust Jorge Abreu stretching horses out, and I think this horse can get close to the pace.
Yeah, it is weird about the distances of this horse. On blood, you'd think no issue at all in terms of the mile. But for me, I guess my fear is when I see them see one with a pedigree that sprints so often and then they're stretching out, I worry that there's something about the horse himself. This is like my own just kind of bias that makes me question it. But if you trust the trainer, there's a lot of things that can happen too. Maybe there was some minor breathing issue. Maybe that's fixed now. I'm getting a little paranoid and wanting to throw Mischievous Angel in, at least as a backup, just for the fact that you brought that up. Because obviously into Mischief, no problem. And, Scat Daddy on the dam side, no problem. It's just, it's almost weird. But maybe off the layoff at this point, they figured something out. And this horse is an interesting sleeper contender in here. As for my top lines in the race, Neat, obvious favorite, not going to be beating me. Very important drop in class. I've always been a fan of Fulmineo, and I was just trying to conjure an excuse. I was hoping this one might slip by a little undetected. You do not think so, based on the line here. Looks like a horse that you think will catch money at 7-2, but it's a horse that I think if you go back through the PPs and look at how highly Fulmineo's always been regarded, maybe the last two races, which are not good, and I was hoping would, maybe contribute to a price. Over the head, end of long season kind of stuff. This is a remix, right? This is the reboot coming here off this many days. Delacour, another trainer I really trust to be able to get horses ready off a long break. I love it. I love it when they come from Fair Hill off the break for Delacour, just because that's a place where you can really get horses a lot of fitness. This one was down at Tampa, so that angle need not apply. But I think Fulmineo's interesting along with Neat, and I think Mischievous Angel belongs in there on a backup type line as well. Let's go on to the big one, as it were, on the day, the Federico Tesio Stakes, 1.125 mile. Win this race, and you will be competing in the Preakness. And there's some really interesting runners in here. Who did you select?
Wow, I had such a tough time with this race. I mean, you have Pay Billy, who's just been one of the sharpest horses on the circuit. You've got Sacred Thunder, who's been one of the most unlucky horses on the circuit. You've got the horse down on the rail, who obviously loves distance, coming off that breakthrough effort with a 90 buyer speed figure in the Withers. And with all those entrants in the race, I'm landing on the most curious runner of all, and that is Kentucky Outlaw, the number 5, who's a perfect 2 for 2 at Parks. I have no idea what he's been facing. I'm assuming it hasn't been anything close to the kind of competition that he's run against here, but boy, he's looked good in those races and he's earned figs in both. I watched his most recent start, and I think maybe he can be his own worst enemy because he really pulls hard early. And that first quarter mile, it was a wrestling match between Kentucky Outlaw and Sylvester Gonzalez. And then he rated beautifully the second quarter, and he was able to back things down. I mean, listen, when you run a 25-second quarter like that, you should be able to sprint on home. He did. Maybe he won't be able to do that in this race, but I have a feeling in a situation like this, it has to come down to price. Is he a freak or is he a fraud? At 8-1, I'm hoping he's a freak.
Let's hope this is a case of great minds think alike and not fools seldom differ here, Dan, because I put Kentucky Outlaw right on top too. Best speed. I love the fact that this horse, while winning in wire to wire fashion, uplined last time. Each pace figure faster than the last. This horse is progressive. I love the 8-1 on the morning line. I'm hoping that is accurate or close enough for rock and roll. I can't get beat by two others that you mentioned, though. Pay Billy is battle tested and in form, should get a great trip. And then you also have the 7 runner Sacred Thunder, who looks like the best closer and maybe the one to benefit if they go too hard. I'm going to try to use all 3 of 5, 9, and 7. Did you have any? Were you going to use those as well, or were you going to try to stand alone with the Outlaw?
Oh, I'm not going to stand alone with the Outlaw. I think I would probably, if I had to use another, I would probably use Sacred Thunder. I just think this extra distance is what he's been waiting for. And if you watch the gallop out from that last race, he really fired on home. He's been waiting for this longer distance. He's been very unlucky. I can understand anyone that's saying, I'm getting sick of Sacred Thunder's act after all this time, all these troubled trips, all these pace compromised trips, but maybe this is his day.
I love it. It is true. It's such a hard thing as a trip-oriented player, such as yourself and myself, where that line between they're actually making their own trouble and they're just not fast enough to hit that hole, and that's why they got shut off, as opposed to a horse that just can be genuinely unlucky. I'm going to come back to you for one more question about your best bet on the card. It can be in these races. It can be from anywhere throughout the day if you have a spot play you want to throw forward, but I did want to just pause on 2 more things that are very important. One is the Preakness future wager that's going to be coming up in short order. We're going to have all the details on that. Just want to put this in folks' brains to be thinking about. We've got so much coverage of the Derby already on the In the Money Media YouTube channel. If you're subscribed there, you'll be able to find all of that in themoneypodcast.com, another place with free information. There's going to be a release coming out soon with the specifics of the wager. We'll be beating that drum, but it's never too early to start getting your ducks in a row for the Derby. And we even have one show with a that is previewing the whole Triple Crown, our Triple Crown draft. That might be a good place to start thinking about the Preakness future wager. And I promised you, Dan, I'm going to make a gag here. I promised you that I wasn't going to hold your feet to the fire about your current Preakness pick. But who is your Preakness pick, and why is it Baeza? You don't actually have to answer that.
I don't have a Preakness pick just yet. You're a much braver person than I am. But yes, our good friends from First will be sending out the field and the odds for the Preakness future wager, which has done very well recently. And why not, considering the success of the Kentucky Derby future wagers? The release will be out next week, so you'll get all of the information. I've always have a lot of fun with these sort of plays.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, the Baeza one, it's sort of I guess it's two things. It's how impressive is the Derby winner, and does he somehow sneak into the Derby and then mess up the whole idea? I did also want to ask you, and this is almost, I could pause the video and just ask you this because I'm curious. I just want to hear some more specifics about the contest that you guys have going on tomorrow and how people can get involved.
Hybrid contest tomorrow. You can show up at Laurel Park and you can sign up. I believe registration begins at 11 a.m. First post is 12:10. It's the card is you play the Laurel Park card. $500 buy-in, $250 live money, $250 to the bankroll. Lots of great prizes. 2 Preakness tickets, 2 seats to the NHC, 1 seat to the BCBC, and of course cash when you win this contest. Pretty nice little prizes as well. You can play, again, at the track or online. Head on over to laurelpark.com for all of the details and where you can sign up online or get your forms ready for tomorrow.
I'll take a wild guess that First Bet really Express Bet, who does their contest with a preferred betting partner, but check it out online and see all the available options. And if you can get down there in person, more power to you. All right, a best bet on this card. Where are you going to go?
Race number 3, number 2, built by Kozan. This is a horse trying turf for the first time. Pete, I hate Kozans on the turf, but I have to admit, this horse has speed and this horse has turf blood on the bottom of the pedigree. Is a half-brother of Fulminate, who is a good stakes place turf sprinter. The dam's a half to a stakes place turf sprinter. I just have a feeling that built by Kozan out of a City Zip mare is going to show zip, breaking from the inside post in this turf sprint, and comes into this race with a quick workout and a very hot young apprentice rider, Yedzit Hazelwood, aboard.
Love the case. And a couple of quick notes there. City Zips, I feel like, from the advent of turf, when turf sprints started to take over Saratoga, those are bloodlines that have been in the mix from day one. And as for Kozan turf sprinting, could it be the kind of thing that a trainer friend once told us? They don't realize it's a turf race until it's over, when they're going that flying 5 or flying 5.5. For me, I'm just going to go with the gusto. And I spent enough time talking about Safe Trust that I feel like a hypocrite if I didn't go ahead and make number 6, Safe Trust, my best bet in race number 9. Dan, always a pleasure. We'll do it again very soon. Have a great day out there tomorrow, and Godspeed.
Thank you, sir. Always great working with you, and good luck to everybody this weekend.